Hello class, and welcome to our reading review of pages 60 to 64 and exercise 2C parts A and B. On page 60, there are quite a few examples at the top of the page of hidden assumptions and how dangerous and damaging they can be. What I'd like to draw your attention to is the third indented paragraph on the top of page 60 that defines philosophical counseling. And I want to share this with you because I think this is a very effective strategy when using critical thinking skills in your decision-making process. And I think this is also a very effective strategy when analyzing the decision-making process of various characters in literature as well. Third indented paragraph, page 60. A new kind of therapy called philosophical counseling is based on the belief that many personal problems stem from faulty logic, from irrational assumptions. I'll read it one more time, and I think it goes hand in hand in some ways with the principle of Occam's razor. A new kind of therapy called philosophical counseling is based on the belief that many personal problems stem from faulty logic, from irrational assumptions. Not just for characters in literature, but also for everyday people in our everyday lives. I think that's a really interesting critical thinking strategy to apply to the decision-making process and the analysis of the decision-making process. So please keep in mind the dangers of hidden assumptions as are continued to be explained on page 61 and the top of 62, and that leads us into exercise 2C. So the key here is we need to identify the hidden assumptions. So if you want to take a minute, get your 2C out in front of you. I'm going to review that right now. Page 62. Number one, the hidden assumption, right? Musicians don't understand business. That's a stereotype, right? Maggie's a musician, so she won't understand the business end of the partnership. Two, hidden assumption. Anna exercises regularly. They don't actually say it, but when they say Anna will be around for a long time, right? That one's not as damaging or possibly as hurtful as number one. But nevertheless, it's still a hidden assumption. Three, I never see Sophie without a book. She must be highly intelligent. The hidden assumption is that people that have books or carry books with them are intelligent. It doesn't say I never see Sophie reading a book. It just says I never see her without a book. She must be highly intelligent. Think about it. If you were cruising around with Hamlet in your hand, would people make the assumption that you read it and that you're intelligent because you're a bardolator like myself? A bardolator is a lover or worshiper of Shakespeare. So that being said, number four, hidden assumption, Sam will lose his money eventually. Five, stars do not give steady light is the hidden assumption. Six, we will resolve the energy crisis because they're suggesting that all of those things will occur. It says the conclusion is clear. Seven, hidden assumption is that professional athletes, because they don't have a degree, can't handle money. So the hidden assumption, excuse me, that was the statement. The hidden assumption is that a college degree gives you the ability to handle money. I know a lot of people with college degrees that aren't very logical in the handling of their money. Eight, having become so central a part of our culture, reality TV shows cannot be without their redeeming features. Okay, the hidden assumption is that anything that's a central part of our culture cannot be without redeeming features. I think there's quite a few things that are a part of our culture that do not have redeeming features. Nine, I do not think they will give him the death penalty since they haven't done it since 1849. The hidden assumption is if they haven't done it in 200 plus years, they're not going to do it now. That was number 9. Number 10, this one's really interesting. It was inhumane to deny this woman the right to nurse her baby in the cafeteria because she was simply performing a natural bodily function. Look at the second part of that claim. I agree. It would be inhumane to deny a woman the right to nurse her baby because of various reasons, right? Infants need nourishment, infants need breast milk. They don't really tell you when they're going to be hungry. You can't really plan for it, things like that. But to say because she was simply performing a natural bodily function, I think we can all agree that there's certain natural bodily functions that one should not perform in public. Now, I don't think breastfeeding is one of them. Absolutely not. She should, it was inhumane to deny her that. But to group it, that's assuming that you should be able to perform all natural bodily functions in public, you get arrested if you do some, if not most of them. B, we've got 3 images. Notice how in the first 2 images on page 63, they're old cartoons from the 1950s. The responsibility is put on the woman in the cartoons that if she wants to avoid sexual harassment, she needs to take certain measures. The hidden assumption is that the sexual harassment isn't wrong and that it's going to continue. So if a woman doesn't like it or doesn't want to deal with it, she needs to take the responsibility to change the situation, which is extremely illogical. Obviously, a reflection of the milieu, the setting, the cultural and political setting of the time, right? If you turn the page to 63, a more modern cartoon depicts a groom being tied up by a bridal party led by the bride. A successful wedding party returns from the hunt. Well, it seems as though the power dynamic between men and women, right, in relationships is evidenced by this cartoon suggesting what? That women are now in control. But it's also kind of negative that, right, if a woman wants to marry you, she will what? Hunt you down and capture you, and she will work in groups with her friends. I mean, right, a successful bridal party. It also suggests that men do not wish to be married, therefore they will have to be captured. So although it's funny, there's still some dangerous hidden assumptions there uh, in all of these cartoons. And that's the thing about humor. You got to be careful with humor because it does make an argument. It does make a point. And again, not everybody has the same reaction to emotional appeals to pathos. So stay tuned. More to come. Thank you for your patience.